I'm John Kovach. I've been a newsman, a sports announcer, and a football coach. But the one constant, since I was old enough to stand next to a stream with my dad, has been fishing. I've waded rapids, stood on slick rocks, hacked through ice, and been tossed about the deck of a boat. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do and join me on this journey. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. Shop this Thursday, September 14th of 2017. A lot of big events coming up, and we're going to talk about a couple of them today. One is conservation heavy. We'll get to that later in the show. And one is a great chance to introduce young people, people of all ages, to hunting and fishing and outdoor activities. And that is Connecticut Hunting and Fishing Day, which is being hosted by Connecticut Fish and Wildlife, the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Joining us by phone, Mike Bouchane, who is the supervising fisheries biologist for the DEEP. He's going to talk to us about that event. It's September 23rd. It's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's at Cabela's up in East Hartford. Mike, thanks for taking some time to talk to us on Yankee Fisherman.
Awesome. How you doing, John?
Doing okay. You?
Doing fairly well.
So this is a new venue for Hunting and Fishing Day. You've done it for a few years?
Yeah, originally it started out as a way to showcase the new wildlife facility at the time, which was out at Sessions Woods in Burlington. And it was a very popular event the first year that they had it, so that kind of said, well, we should continue to do this. And they did. Last year, be it our 150th anniversary, we actually did two, one at Sessions Woods in Burlington and one in Franklin at our wildlife management area. But the common theme with all of those was that kind of death by popularity, where we had so many people and not enough space to park people that we had to do a lot of shuttle busing, which through our surveys and evaluations was one of the main disadvantages people would say about coming to the event. So our staff came up with the idea of maybe trying to have it more centralized. We brainstormed, and Cabela's graciously offered their grounds to anyone who wanted to attend, and we have tons of parking there now and tons of space. So I think we have the most number of vendors ever coming to this event next Saturday.
And who are some of the vendors who are going to be there?
Well, and the broad categories would be a lot of Connecticut DEP programs, and then sporting groups, as well as sporting clubs, and businesses like taxidermists, bait and tackle shops, some of the colleges that offer fish and wildlife programs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you name it, all sorts of things, kayaking, boating, anything that has to do with shooting sports, fishing, trapping, it's all there.
You'll have demos going on there at Cabela's?
What was that?
Will there be demos at Cabela's, demos of archery, etc., casting?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's all hands-on. The majority of the stuff is, one of the most popular reasons for having the Hunting and Fishing Day is it's hands-on. Families get to try a wide variety of different shooting sports, from archery to, we'll have BB guns to do target shooting. We're going to have fishing, casting skills, where Cabela's has graciously donated over 100 basic fishing poles that we'll raffle off every hour for each kid who catches one of our little plastic fish.
Oh, that's cool.
As well as live birds of prey and other things. So yeah, there's something for everybody.
So it's hunting and fishing, but it's also with the birds of prey there. You're going to cover some conservation aspects as well, which is generally intertwined with those who hunt and fish.
Yeah, that's a great segue, because Saturday is National Hunting and Fishing Day, and the reason why that exists is due to the two key pieces of federal legislation, which is wildlife and fisheries conservation at heart, which is the Sport Fishing Restoration Program and the Wildlife Restoration Program, where those funds are, the trust funds are maintained by excise taxes on hunting and fishing equipment. And then those dollars are managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service back to states to do recreational and conservation activities on the ground to improve fish and wildlife. So it's a way for us to say thank you to all the people whose passion is hunting and fishing and how much they've invested over the years.
Now, this is open to all ages. So really, I have a coworker whose daughter mentioned that she wants to try fishing. Is this the kind of event that he should take her to and she get a chance to do it?
Well, we will have, there definitely will be fly fishing, casting demonstrations and opportunity to try it yourself, and our CARE program, our aquatic resource education program, where we offer a lot of basic fishing classes, will be having what we call our backyard bass casting experience, which is extremely popular with the kids. They love it.
And I'm not asking, trying to pin down a concrete number here, but just in general, do we see a lot of people who maybe don't hunt and fish and attend this and get into those activities in years past?
Well, my personal observation in years past, it tends to be majority of people who have just started their families recently, have young kids maybe under the age of 10, but haven't yet started to pass on that tradition of hunting and fishing to them. They may have experienced it through their parents and grandparents, but now that they're basically hitting the ground running with their own kids, it's like, hey, I remember all the great memories I had with my dad or my grandfather or grandmother, and I want to, this is a great way for me to kind of start up again and pass that tradition on. So yeah, it's people, the adults I think have had experience with it, but not a lot of the kids.
Now the beauty of this moving to Cabela's is there's more than ample parking, so no need for shuttles at this one. You can park and everything will be set up right there in East Hartford.
Yeah, no shuttle buses involved whatsoever. Again, that was one of the major negative feedback that we received over the past 5 years through our surveys. It's all right there. It's all wide open. They've been very open, invited everyone who can attend, who they want. Like I said, it's allowed us to have a space, not only just parking, but the flat area around Cabela's, the old Rentschler Field, has allowed us to really accommodate more people than we've ever been able to accommodate in terms of getting their information out. So we're hoping that this central location will draw a lot of people. The convenience of not having to take a shuttle bus will appeal to people, and they'll get a lot out of the day.
And if you haven't been to either Cabela's or Rentschler Field, and if you're listening to this show, I would be stunned if any of you fit that description. It's near 91 and 84, right near the convergence there. Very convenient. Just follow the signs to Rentschler Field. And UConn does not have a home football game that day. There is a home football game actually the next day on Sunday due to a schedule change that was just announced today. So you've got all that spaces available. They'll be set up. It's going to be a great day. That's on September 23rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Connecticut Hunting and Fishing Day. And Mike, you told me about another way to learn trout fishing that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Sure. Our aquatic ed program will be sponsoring for the first time ever a basic of trout fishing class. Usually we just do basics of fishing, but we've had a lot of inquiries back from people looking to take the next level. Okay, we've mastered the panfish fishing. Now let's take it up a level. So we're going to do a beginner level trout class on Friday, October 6th will be the classroom piece in the evening, and then Saturday morning, the 7th, we'll go to Chatfield Hall State Park where everybody can put their newfound skills to use.
And how can somebody find out information about that and sign up if necessary?
All the info is on our webpage, so if you go to www.ct.gov/fishing, and then there's a link for Learn to Fish. That'll bring you right to our schedule of that class and any other classes that we'll have coming up in the near future.
And Mike, while I've got you, I can't not ask, the fall stocking program's about to begin. How is that looking?
A very popular question, especially on our Facebook page and phone ringing off the hook. We're supposed to start in earnest next week. A couple of the biologists were trading emails with me today, making sure the temperatures are appropriate in the trout parks and community waters, which were some of the places where we're going to stock. we have been having kind of this extended warm weather. We were hoping it was going to, the temperature would drop out. It's nice in the evenings, but the 80s during the day are keeping the temperatures up a little bit. So we're still hoping for next week, but it might be pushed off towards the latter part of that week or the next week, depending on temperatures.
And Mike and the guys at DEEP do a great job of, via Facebook and I believe Twitter, updating when the stocking's going to be in. They're not going to tell you where they're putting the fish ahead of time, but you'll know about when the program's going to start. We'll be sharing those updates with you. So again, Connecticut Hunting and Fishing Day, it's September 23rd. That's a Saturday. It's at Cabela's in East Hartford. The actual address is 475 East Hartford Boulevard. All kinds of room there. Park there, go, learn some new skills, and meet the guys from DEEP who make it possible for us to hunt and fish in Connecticut. Mike Bouchine, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, call me back anytime, John. I love being on your show.
Can't wait. We'll be back with more Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, right after this. The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet. 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions. Bankwell combines the best personalized service with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong community partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. We are joined now on the phone by Alicia Sharamu, and I'm always afraid I'm pronouncing that wrong, even though I've known her for years. She's a river steward with the Connecticut River Conservancy, and we're going to talk about the 21st annual Source to Sea cleanup. That is the September 22nd and 23rd. It spans 4 states. Alicia, how do you guys take on a river cleanup of that magnitude?
Well, it's all hands on deck here at the Conservancy, and you know it's not us organizing all of the details. We have 130 groups that get involved, and so many of these groups, they're so self-sufficient. They say, we're going to come, we're going to clean up this site, just give us bags and gloves and t-shirts, and we're going to go out there and we're going to work hard. And a lot of these groups welcome individuals and other groups, so it's wonderful to have so many people across the entire 11,000 or more square mile watershed that are willing to pitch in and do this work and contribute to this really big event. So, there's a lot of moving parts, but it's a great event.
This watershed essentially covers New England. I mean, it's New Hampshire, it's Massachusetts, it's Connecticut. It's a massive, massive watershed. Do people appreciate just how big the Connecticut River watershed is?
You know, I think when people think about the Connecticut River, they're only thinking about the river itself, which is 410 miles, impressive in itself. But they're not thinking about all of the other watersheds that contribute to it. And it's yes, it's a very large watershed. There's a lot of groups, and you know, it all ends up in Long Island Sound. The Connecticut River and its watersheds contribute to 70% of the fresh water that goes into Long Island Sound.
That's just a massive amount, and knowing all of the large rivers that lead to the Long Island Sound, 70%, that number just blows me away. And we're talking about a river here that's, as you said, 410 miles long, that at one time was a heavily industrialized river, no?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, before the Clean Water Act was implemented, it was known as New England's most beautiful open sewer. And it's come such a long way since then.
You've got to pull some interesting things out of here. And I'm looking at a refrigerator door being boated off from a previous cleanup. What are some of the larger things that have been pulled out of this poor river?
Well, last year in Vermont, a few safes were pulled out of the river, which was quite interesting because they were in fairly close locations in Vermont. You know, there are plenty of unique things, like, you know, we had a lot of creepy doll heads last year, and, you know, very odd odds and ends, but mostly we pick up a lot of the same stuff, which is beverage containers, which is the #1 thing we pull out of rivers, tires, to a lesser extent now mattresses, especially in Connecticut, because we have such a good program for recycling mattresses now in Connecticut.
I to the life of me, and it dates back to my childhood, I don't comprehend the tires in the river, the whole concept, why you would even think that's a good idea.
Because you can roll them down a bank and they disappear. The evidence is gone.
That's a good
because,
point.
you know, these tires are being illegally dumped because you have to pay to dispose of tires in the state of Connecticut. So instead of paying, either they're individuals who don't want to pay that $2 per tire, or they're disreputable haulers that decide that, you know, these scrap tires that aren't worth anything to them, they need to get rid of them, so they dump them, and it becomes a resource suck on a lot of towns in Connecticut.
But thanks to cleanups such as the 21st Source to Sea, we're seeing a much cleaner Connecticut River and the watershed of late. And we're also seeing the return of some species and bigger runs of some fish, no?
Yes. It was a great year for shad this year.
Yes, it was.
And things are getting much cleaner. I was just talking to a group leader today who said, you know, we almost thought about canceling the cleanup because everything is so clean right now. But, you know, just getting those volunteers out and to do at least what little is left is important for people to get out there and enjoy the river. But yes, things are getting cleaner, and it is such great news.
It truly is. How much of this effort could be avoided if a certain segment of the angling population just carried out what they carried in, be it beverage containers, bait containers, old fishing line, what have you?
That is a pretty common source of trash. A lot of the riverside, almost, you know, a lot of the riverside areas where people hang out for a long period of time, a lot of beer cans, a lot of nip bottles, a lot of fishing line, a lot of bait containers. And if they were just all carried out, we would probably have, you know, it would probably cut the work and at least by a third, for sure.
So that's a third of the cleanup of a 410-mile river and the adjoining rivers. If people would just, when they went fishing, carry out what they carried in, Don't leave it to a handful of us to carry the stuff out, guys. If you take the stuff in, carry it out. Now, the 21st Annual Source to Sea Cleanup of the Connecticut River watershed, September 22nd and 23rd, spans Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Alicia, there's still time for volunteers to get involved?
Absolutely. The best thing to do right now is to join another group that's already cleaning up either Friday or Saturday. And you can find that information on ctriver.org/cleanup. Click on Join a Group. You'll get a map will come up. There are pins on the map. The green pins are people that are still looking for volunteers. You just need to zoom in the areas you're interested in. And, one example, a very good example, is Haddam Meadows State Park down in Haddam. They're also going to be removing some bittersweet. So if you have a pair of loppers in a truck, join them down there, because they're also doing invasives, which, that's something there's always plenty of too. So
that's never a small undertaking, the removal of invasives. Any other projects being undertaken by the Connecticut River Conservancy that you'd like to tell us about?
I'm
you're just consumed by you're just consumed by Source to Sea, and it is a huge undertaking.
It is. Well, one of the things that is also very current is Connecticut State Water Plan draft is out for public comment, and water is Connecticut's most precious natural resource, and we have to make sure there's water in the streams for our fish. We have to make sure there's water in the streams to be able to take our kayaks and canoes out. So something that's very important that's going on that we've also been involved in.
And you guys do a lot at the Connecticut River Conservancy to put attention on this watershed. Leader just swam the whole length of it, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
You just had a swimming event there where...
Oh, he didn't swim the whole length, actually, but he did have a Source to Sea journey where he highlighted the purpose
highlighted sections.
Far come and to highlight some things that still need to be done. It was done. There was swimming, rowing, there was paddling, there was a parade at one point of boats with a band. So that Source to Sea journey was done in many different ways, not just swimming. It was really great.
It was a lot of fun to follow that online. So again, the 21st Annual Source to Sea Cleanup, that's organized by the Connecticut River Conservancy. If you can participate, if you're going to be in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, it's Friday the 22nd, Saturday the 23rd. I promise I won't bother you on Sunday the 24th, Alicia.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Alicia Sharma from the Connecticut River Conservancy, thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more Yankee Fisherman presented by the Dock Shop right after this. The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through September 30th.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all. From Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com. Weed & Duryea, New Canaan's home center and full-service lumberyard. Everything for your home and improvement projects. We also carry seasonal items, barbecue grills, housewares, newest LED light bulbs, doors, windows, and much more. Weed & Duryea, 21 Grove Street, New Canaan, a division of Northeast Building Supply.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, Thursday, September 14th, 2017. We talked about the Connecticut River source to sea cleanup. Also, and this is this weekend and then ongoing, Save the Sound is having its coastal cleanup. It's part of International Coastal Cleanup events. September 16th, which is Saturday, is International Coastal Cleanup Day. Go to savethesound.org, and they're having cleanups. I know there's one in Southport on Saturday, and you can help clean the Sound, which is another watershed body of water that needs some attention. Anything you can do to make for cleaner water is going to be appreciated, especially if you're an angler, especially now because the stripers are in, the blues are in, and just this week we started to get reports of the albies being in, the false albacore being caught. DEEP has a great video they shared on Facebook of 2 pods of dolphins off of Clinton. So a lot going on out there on the Sound. It's really heating up. We are going to be doing some saltwater fishing in the very near future. Some of that for a good cause. You've got the Owen Strong tournament coming up. That starts next week. We're going to be talking about that on next week's show. We hope we're planning to. This is a family. The young boy has cancer, and this is a fundraiser. It's a catch and release surf casting tournament. Fish has to be caught from the shore. It's a striper tournament. Measure, photograph, catch and release. It's a month long. There's events going on with it. We're going to talk a lot more about it. Owen Strong, if you search that hashtag, you will find out more about that. We'll have more on next week's Yankee Fisherman. Nutmeg TU with a couple events this week. You have a striper trip led by Edgar Zeta. That is going to be at Penfield Reef on Saturday. It was going to be at 8 a.m. It's been moved to 10 so that we're not at slack tide, so the water's moving. You can park along Reef Road. It's a great reef to know how to fish, and few fish it as often and as well as Ed. So if you're interested in surf casting, saltwater fly fishing, that's a great one to do. You can also learn about catching stripers in the Sound at Nutmeg's general meeting. That is on Tuesday night, September 19th. It's at Port 569 Brewster Street in the Black Rock section of Bridgeport. And Captain Roger Gendron of Connecticut Island Outfitters is going to speak. We're also going to get an update on the TIC program. First program meeting of the year, 7 o'clock it starts, and that is at Port 5. As we talked about with Mike, trout stocking maybe starting next week here in Connecticut. Also got northern pike stocking going on in Massachusetts. And this is kind of a cool story that came across. I saw it from CT Bass Nation. And that is that the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, the national one, is going to have a fundraising campaign through its live broadcasts from the Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Championships. That's at Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota. And that is coming up. Bassmaster.com for more information on that. Covered a very cool event that we're going to have video of on next week's show, and that was the Black Hawk out of Niantic taking a group of veterans out. Made even more moving by the fact that it was on the anniversary of 9/11. We're going to have some video from that, and we're going to talk about Owen Strong on a show next week that's going to be big on fishing as a means of bringing people together and trying to help people make lives better. I'm not going to be off for too long. I'll be back on at 2 o'clock, Nutmeg Sports. Kevin Coleman, Frank Granito, and I, they'll break down some of the other sports that we've covered this week, and then we'll preview football. 2 big games this week. West Hill at Norwalk on Friday, 7 o'clock kickoff, 5 o'clock tailgate. Saturday will be at Trinity Catholic when they host Greenwich. Somewhere in there, I'll try to get on the river. I hope you do too. When you do, tight lines.